is the giving season, and this morning on Debra Duncan, you'll hear about a young girl who turned her parents' worst nightmare into her father's greatest gift.
I have experienced the greatest miracle this side of heaven.
This older brother scored a victory for a basketball star in the biggest game of all, the game of life.
I think he's a hero, and he's a great example for a lot of people out there.
These two sisters share a bond that can never be broken.
I have been given the gift from Glenna to see through her eyes.
And this little girl waits, hoping for a new tomorrow.
Losing your child is not something that's supposed to happen to people.
Special people with a special purpose. Our greatest gifts, next on Debra Duncan. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this very special show. You know, most of us realize at some point in our lives that we are all here for a purpose, and discovering what that purpose is can be a lifelong journey. No one understands that better than Chet and Jean Zuber, whose daughter Patty taught them the true meaning of life. And she taught you that in so many different ways. Even as a child, she was just kind of different than a lot of children.
She was very different, very outgoing. She brought, anybody knew that at her school, she'd bring them home till they got acquainted with other kids. She was very outgoing and loving.
She was always taking in the underdog.
Oh, yes, always.
And never met a stranger. One of your favorite stories is when you all lost her for a few minutes. She gave you the scare of your life at one point.
That's absolutely right. We were at Busch Gardens, and Patty came up missing, and we were frantic. But she was very happy. She was talking to a sales clerk and figured we were the ones that were lost, not her.
She was always a source of inspiration for you, as were all your children. But being that outgoing, very loving type of child, something you really needed because she never knew you as a healthy person.
Exactly. Patty was born about the time that I began experiencing heart disease. And so she never really knew me healthy. But she was very supportive, and she did as much for me as she could as she got older and was able to understand my problem. She was very supportive.
She decided one of the things that she would do is take a little break with her boyfriend, if you will, and go camping because she loved camping. And I guess you can say it's kind of like a father's intuition, because the last words you spoke to her on the phone before that camping trip were what? Well,
it was really after she had arrived at her destination, the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. She had called home to let us know that she had arrived safely. And my last words to Patty were the same that I've probably uttered 1,000 times before to her older brothers and sisters, and that is, have a good time, but be careful. And then hours later, that same evening, we were awoken from our sleep with a telephone call, a call that I have to call every parent's nightmare. And it was a call from University of Tennessee Medical Center saying that Patty had been in a severe automobile accident, that death appeared to be but moments away.
In fact, they told you don't even come because she probably was going to die.
Yeah, don't even bother coming down as death appears to be but moments away.
But when you got there, there was some encouragement.
We saw signs of encouragement. When you'd touch her and rub her, her leg would twitch or an arm would twitch. And you know, we went down on Friday, the accident was Thursday, and my boys had gotten there first. And so we showed signs of encouragement.
Right.
But on Saturday, it really didn't look that way.
It didn't look too good. And you started thinking about, over the years, how Patty had been the source of encouragement for you. You were now the source of encouragement for her. Yeah. And one of those things that encouraged you was a Father's Day card that she sent you.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, she talks about hoping that one day you'll dine on the finest French cuisine, that you'd have your own deluxe TV and spend weekends in Waikiki. And then she added here, and a new healthy heart. Well, coming up next, Patty would have no idea how prophetic those words would be. Debra was 22 years old when she was involved in a car accident. Her parents were told she probably wouldn't make it through the night, but they weren't giving up. But after that Saturday, when you had some hope because there was some twitching and some movement, things kind of went downhill.
We had someone from the family be with Patty 24 hours a day. Her brothers would stay up all night with her, and we would be there during the day. And the nurses were very nice to us at the hospital. They say, you can stay here all the time. Whatever we have to do, we will work around you. So we had that privilege of being with her. But when we arrived on Saturday, we had received some bad news that they had stopped getting any responses from Patty about 3 a.m. And so we went into this curtained off area, and we just really killed time. And finally he came in and he says, I pronounced death at 11:35 a.m. this Sunday morning. So.
And Jean, at that point, not only are you dealing with the loss of a child as well, but you had to think about what this would do to your husband's heart. Could he take this? And the possibility of losing two of your family members.
I was very concerned about him even making the trip to Tennessee. And we had sent the two of our boys down first. But I don't know, Chet would always be strong when he had to be strong. And he was. In fact, he just, took care of everybody else that day.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how he got through it too.
One thing you did not know about Patty is that because of her concern for you and the experience that she had with you, she realized how important organ donation was. And so while you're still in shock dealing with the news that she has officially passed away, all of a sudden the organ donation coordinator comes down and says to you, what?
Well, and she told me that under the Directed Anatomical Gift Act that I could have Patty's heart.
But your child just dies and someone comes and says, you can receive her heart. What was your first reaction?
I turned it down immediately. We'd never considered anything like this. Who would think of accepting something like this from a daughter? And a million things went through my mind. Is this right? Is this ethical? Can I stand the thought of every heartbeat reminding me of Patty? Is this a selfish move? And I turned it down flat.
Jean, did you turn it down flat?
Yes. Not because of, his feelings, but because I was afraid that not only did I lose Patty, that I was afraid I would lose him too.
Yeah. But then you felt Patty. You literally felt like she was there.
But I had a long corridor to walk down to get to the area where our room was at. And I can't tell you what I thought about if I thought about anything walking down this corridor, but I had one more elevator to go down to get to the area where the room was. Now, I don't want anyone to think that this is corny. But while I was waiting, I swear that Patty was pleading with me to accept her heart. And I thought, good grief, how can I tell this to the family? So I went down to my room, and I'm laying on the bed. I'm trying to think of different scenarios how I can approach the family. And I finally come to the conclusion that if the family totally agreed to this, that I would accept Patty's gift, that's the only condition that I would take Patty's heart.
Eventually you got that heart. The transplant was a success.
Mm-hmm.
What did it feel like to feel that first beat?
Well, I want to tell you something. When I awoke from surgery, I felt terrific. I'm working on my 7th year. I've not had a bad day since. It has given me a quality of life that I never thought I would ever have again. 4 months after transplant, I was hunting deer in northern Michigan in my favorite blind, a place where I had to quit hunting several years prior because I just simply couldn't walk that far.
So Patty gave the ultimate gift to you, and not only to you, but basically I was counting up almost at least 36 people.
Oh, sure.
36 people through her organ donation.
Exactly.
At least 36 people have a better life today because of her giving the ultimate gift, and it's such a fitting tribute to such a loving child. And you were able to do a tribute to her. You were a Christmas tree farmer.
That's right.
So we understand that this time of year, it's a busy one for you. But at your Christmas tree farm, you have an area that's in memory of Patty.
Yes, we have about 200 feet out my back door, I have a trout stream. And on the backside of the trout stream was just sort of wild. And we had developed this. We put a bridge in, and we have cleaned up an area on the opposite side of the stream, and we call it Patty's Park. And we have saints and animals, and and an angel, which is we think is Patty, and just a nice, beautiful setting.
We want to thank both of you for sharing your greatest gift with us today. And Patty is here with us, right here.
Absolutely. You know, some people's life work begins after they die, and I believe this is Patty's chore. She's helping me speak through her to make people aware of the need and the importance of organ donation, and that organ donation works.
Yes. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Still to come, a family's struggle with the gift yet to be received.
It's really hard to say how you feel unless you've walked in our shoes.
We'll discover why every day is a gift for them. But up next, Sherry Rollins' mother was always her hero, and through a miracle gift, she became a hero to her best friend, too. We'll find out why next.
The greatest gift I've ever received was my Afghan. My friend Rebecca, out of the kindness and love of her heart, took the time to make it for me. I waited a long time. My grandmother started one and passed away. My sister started one, but she never finishes anything. And Rebecca just did it. And it keeps me warm, and it's like a hug from her every time I use it.
Those who give gifts from the heart truly can touch our lives in many ways. But when it comes to teaching us the purpose of life, sometimes Mother knows best. And Sheila and Sherry's mom taught them by example. Sheila and Sherry join us today. You had the kind of relationship with your mom that every mother and daughter could hope for.
Yes.
You could feel when your mom may have been in trouble. She could feel when you two may have been in trouble, and feel when you're happy. There was a day in particular where you felt something was wrong.
Yes. July 25th was a Tuesday, and I woke up like anyone else would, got ready, went to work. The only thing different about that day was I had an appointment to go see a radiologist regarding a lump I found in my breast. And I talked with Mother that weekend about it, and she said, it's going to be, it's nothing, Sheila, don't worry about it. But I'll go with you. You want me to go with you? I said, no, it's minor. Don't worry about it. Really, I don't need you there. So that Monday I worked, and I stayed busy, tried to keep my mind off of things. And it was about 4:15 that I was getting ready to go. And at that minute, I had the strongest feeling something was wrong. And there was one word that came to my mind, and that word was aneurysm.
Had you known anything about aneurysms before? Was it something you're familiar with? It just came into your mind?
I've heard of brain aneurysms before, but it just hit me. It was really strong, and it scared me. But I was going in to have a lump in my breast looked at, so I didn't worry about it too much. Went to the doctor. They found 2 lumps, and they couldn't tell me what it was. They were going to refer me to a surgeon.
But you get news like this, and this is when you're thinking, I got to reach out for my sister, I got to reach out for my mother.
First thing I thought was, get home, call Mom.
Yeah, but little did you know what Mom was going through, and what was Mom going through at this time?
At this time, I believe that my mom had already had a brain aneurysm and was taken to the hospital. I'm sorry. And I live 3.5 hours. I live in Bernie. I'm so sorry. I live in Bernie, and so I got the phone call at home, actually from my cousin, because nobody could get a hold of me, and all my family was en route to the hospital, and headed to Houston, and I was the last one to arrive at the hospital about 10:30 that Tuesday evening, and Sheila was the first one that met me in the hall, and she said she's not going to make it through the night. So the next thing was to go in and see Mom, and then we went to the room that they designated for us, and that's when Life Gift approached us. And
Life Gift, of course, asking about if you would not mind her organs being donated.
Right. We didn't have second thoughts. We knew Mom, the generous, supportive person, giving, loving person that she was, would want that.
Yeah. And just to show you how God works, there just happened to be someone you knew of who needed an organ.
Somebody I work with. They mentioned organ donation, and I just happened to say, well, what if you know somebody that needs an organ? And my family looked at me and was like, you're nuts.
You know somebody who needs one.
And I said, no, I really do. I have a friend that I work with that's in kidney failure right now, and she needs an organ. And life gift was, well, we can try it, but odds are slim and none. So, don't.
Absolutely, because it is to find a perfect match. What are the odds that you just happen to know this lady you work with, and she would just happen to be a perfect match? And that lady you work with, her name is Janet Everett, and Janet is with us this morning. Janet, please come on out. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning.
Talk about the odds. You were on this list with how many other people waiting for a kidney?
Well, there's over 2,000 people waiting in Texas, so I would have had to wait about a 2-year wait.
About a 2-year wait. Did you really have that kind of time?
No. I was in bad shape because I have cystic fibrosis, and I had also had a double lung transplant, so this was another transplant.
Right. You had gotten word that there's a possibility that there's a kidney out there, and you kind of ran in the back of your mind, I wonder if.
As we were going to San Antonio, I got my kidney in San Antonio, and as we were going to San Antonio, I told my friends that took me, I said, wouldn't this be odd, because I had just found out the night before that Sherry's mom had died. Mm-hmm. And I said, wouldn't this be odd if this was Sherry's mother's kidney? And, we just said, oh, no.
Yeah, how could it be? I mean, the odds are just way too high.
Exactly. And then I got to the receptionist desk at the transplant center, and they said, you are a very lucky lady. We have a kidney for you from Houston. And I said, I don't know anybody in Houston that would give me a kidney. And I kind of argued with them like, this isn't my kidney.
You've got the wrong kidney. This is not mine.
We have made a mistake. So
let me give you a hint. If you're waiting on a list for an organ and they give you one, don't argue with them.
I know. So anyway, it just didn't click. Right. And the receptionist, she didn't argue anymore. She said the transplant coordinator will be out in a minute. And so I went and sat down with my friends, and then I saw the transplant coordinator come toward me, and it clicked. I said, this kidney is from Houston. It just finally clicked. And this kidney is from Houston. And then we just started crying. It was very, very emotional.
Sheila, what is it like for you, knowing that your mom's passed on and she's your angel, she's your guardian angel, but to look at her living and your friend here?
It's the greatest gift. We lost a mother, but we gained a very special friend. And we've gotten closer, and the more time I spend with her, she kind of spats off me like my mother does. And I just tell her, well, you got my mom in you, so spat off if you want. I tell her that all the time.
The mom lives on.
Fussing at each other.
Mom lives on, not only in Sherry, but also in two beautiful daughters that she raised to be the kind of compassionate person that she was as well. So thank you all for sharing your story with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Up next, an NBA star speaks out on the gift of life.
I think a lot of people have myths about what will happen to them if they sign their organ donor card, that they won't take as good a care of you at the hospital, or I've heard stuff like that. And talking to the National Kidney Foundation, I went to the transplant games and talking to lots of people. It's so critical because there's such a shortage of organs, and to be honest with you, you can't take it with you.
We'll find out how his brother gave his greatest gift. Stay with us. Basketball star Sean Elliott overcame many obstacles to get to the top of his game. But when it looked like he'd finally made it, something happened. And this time, Sean could not make it alone.
Sean Elliott on the perimeter. He can score. They have got to get something from him.
Three-pointer, Sean Elliott baseline. Bang! A 17-2.
It was the summer of 1999. NBA star Sean Elliott was at the top of his game and hit a miracle shot to help lift his team to the NBA championship.
The San Antonio Spurs win their first ever NBA championship.
He should have been on top of the world, but Sean had a secret that kept him grounded. He was suffering from kidney disease and in desperate need of a transplant.
I didn't know what was going to happen, and I had faith. I had faith that somebody next to me would be a match and that things would work out. But if they didn't, I also had faith knowing that things would work out for me eventually and somehow. If I had to go through some suffering, so be it. A lot of people go through a lot worse than what I went through. I've seen people that have been on dialysis for a dozen years, 13, 14 years, and people that are still waiting on the list going through dialysis for a long period of time. So I was prepared to face that.
Sean Elliott is a unique individual who combines sort of a passion for this game with an enduring decency that had us all rooting for him.
As Sean waited on an uncertain future,
it can be a scary situation.
His older brother came forward with a life-saving gift. He gave Sean a healthy kidney.
I just had a lot of faith that everything would be okay. I knew I had a great family behind me. I had a good support group, and I had been through some adversity before, so I didn't let it get too low. I tried to keep it high all the time, even though there was obviously the opportunities for lots of lows.
Then Sean did what nearly everyone said could not be done. He became the first professional athlete ever to come back to his game after an organ transplant.
Left wing, left corner to Elliott, drives baseline underneath, it's up and good.
My goodness, isn't this wonderful? What a brave young man, and what an extraordinary story, and really inspirational about overcoming obstacles for everybody. It's really the best of sports.
So many people out there watching your every move to see what happens or how you do or how you look, and it's a lot to think about. It's pretty overwhelming sometimes. I was blessed. I was really blessed to have a family like I did, and have my brother, who was one, a match for me, and two, willing to give up part of himself to help me really survive and resume my quality of life. So for me, I thought it was a tremendous blessing, and I was extremely lucky that I had somebody like that in my life, and a lot of people aren't so fortunate.
All because of a brother's love and his gift of life. Joining us now live from Tucson is Sean's mother, Odie Mae Elliott. Good morning, Odie Mae.
Good morning.
Sean was the picture of health. You know, he's an NBA athlete. You have to be in great condition to be an NBA athlete like that. Did you have any idea, or what was the first inclination that you had that he was sick?
I had known that he was sick for several years. But when I first got the idea that he was really sick and that the treatments were not working was in November of the year before his transplant. I knew about how serious it could be, but you keep hoping that the treatments are going to stop or halt the disease so that you don't really see the disease run its worst course. So I saw him just losing ground, and when I really pinned him down, he told me in November that this was what was going to have to happen, that he would need a transplant. But he had told me probably a year from then, maybe a year and a half.
When your other son, Noel, said, you know what, I'll give him my kidney, were you a little nervous?
Somehow, with God's help, I was able to do that. Because you hope that they have that much love for each other. But then it's put to the test in a case like Noel and Sean.
Yeah. Well, Odie Mae, we want to say thank you for joining us this morning, and we're delighted that you received this gift and your whole family received this gift of love. Coming up later, this family still waits for their greatest gift with a little girl whose time is running out.
She could pass away at any time, so we try to cherish each moment that we got with her. And it's hard. They tell us don't treat her different. Don't don't let her get away with stuff. Discipline her still the same, but it's really hard you wouldn't want to spend your time disciplining your child if you think that might be the last couple months you got with her.
Coming up next, we'll meet two sisters who believe the greatest gift isn't something you can buy or even see, but they both know they have received it. And they'll share how they found that priceless gift in just a moment. Don't go away.
My greatest gift was from my sister. She gave up her life to take care of my mother, who had Alzheimer's and colon cancer. She moved back home to take care of her. She couldn't work. She stayed there for over 12 years, and that was the greatest gift that anyone could do, because she gave up her life to take care of our mother, and that was something that I'd like to say thank you from me and my family.
Oftentimes when we find a role model, it's someone who's richer, prettier, more athletic than us, someone who is the cream of the crop. But if you look close enough, the greatest lessons in life can be learned from those who appear to have less than us. Gloria Silverman and Glenna Smith are sisters who want to share their special gift with all of us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
You two were raised almost as twins would be raised.
Yeah, we did.
Exactly.
But you're different.
Yeah, we are.
Your sister, you, Glenna, have a kind of a disability, if you will.
I do. I have varicose veins.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm retarded. And I had a brain disease in my brain.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
But your sister says you are her role model. You have taught her so many wonderful things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. We had a fun time. We did have our childhood. We had a wonderful time.
Glenna and I are 16 months apart.
Yes, we did. We are.
And actually, my mother miscarried twice after Glenna. And then when I was born, I'm kind of the miracle baby.
Mm-hmm. There's so much to say, because I know when I met you a few weeks ago, actually, you had tears in your eyes then when you said, Deborah, we hear about role models and all these people who've done these wonderful things, and we forget about these little angels that we have who teach us so much in terms of just basic human dignity, basic human respect, and that she taught you unconditional love. And because of her, what we call a disability, when you were children, what did you learn? Is it compassion? Did you learn patience?
Oh, have I learned patience? Patience is a big one.
Yeah. We were just out for a party. That's it.
We just spent a lot of time together is what she's describing. When we were growing up, I have been given the gift from Glenna to see through her eyes. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, I mean by being able to see the innocence and the purity that she is.
Glory now went out, party down.
Now Glenna's telling the real story here. The real story, you went and partied down, did you?
Yeah, we went to 6th grade.
I have taken her with me everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there was not a time that I did not have her with me.
And sometimes I could backfire, and when she got back home and said, woo, she was partying down, Mom.
Little did I know.
Oh, yes.
So she forced you to be honest, is what she did.
She went.
Absolutely.
Me and her went to 6th grade. We had great fun.
Oh.
And what about when we were little kids? What did we do?
Skinny dipping.
Oh, skinny dipping.
Yeah, when we were kids, we had backyard skinny dipping.
Oh.
We had backyard.
In our swimming pool? In the swimming pool.
In the swimming pool.
Because of and I hesitate to call this a disability because it is so sweet.
I know.
It's almost childlike, and I mean childlike in the ways that are so wonderful. We somehow lose when we're adults.
Exactly.
It's the innocence that we have, the honesty that we have, and the ability to look at all people and say there are good things in all people.
And that gift I will have from her for the rest of my life.
Well, thank you for sharing that gift with us this morning. You have a surprise for me?
Well, this happens to be from the Center for the Mentally Retarded. Oh. The kids made these cookies Try them. They're ginger chestnut cookies.
You want me to try these
Yeah,
right now?
really
You don't,
good.
Douglas, do you have a pocket knife there? You help me out? All right, let's try these.
They're very good.
Would you like one too, Glenna?
I'm all right. I'm not care. I'm hungry.
You're hungry? Okay. All right. All right, well, I'll just give you one first. There you go.
Try some.
Okay, I'm going to try some.
Okay.
These are good.
So all the kids at the center made these.
Mm-hmm. These are really good. Thank you very much for sharing these with me today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Thank you very much.
And don't ever change.
I'm not.
All right. Up next, a little girl who would truly touch her heart, and her parents who are searching for ways to heal her suffering.
Greatest wish would be for my daughter's health. And that's a wish only the Lord can grant me.
My name is Karen Androsco, and my greatest gift saved my life. On July the 31st of 98, I had some surgery done. We drove home, and I walked into the house, and blood was just coming out of me. Paramedics got there just in time. My veins were collapsing. I got to the hospital, and 4 people donated blood. If it had not have been for those people, I wouldn't be here today. The greatest gift of life is blood. I thank Heavenly Father, number one, but I also thank those people that donated their blood to me.
And Karen Androsco, you said a lot when you said if it were not for those people, I would not be here today. You would not be alive if those people had not donated. And you also had angels looking out for you because the blood was not readily available that you needed, was it?
No, it wasn't.
What happened?
When the paramedics got there, my veins were collapsing after this hemorrhoid surgery.
Something you think is
something
so-
you would think
yeah.
would just be okay. And by the time I got into the house, I mean, I had to go to the bathtub. I mean, I was just losing it. And the paramedics got there really quick, and they got there just in time because my veins were collapsing in my hands. The only hospital accepting people were the hospital they took me to, so there were angels right there. And that was the only hospital that had my blood type also. And I think when people give blood, they don't realize that, they may think, well, how could this save someone's life? But it took 4 people, but I wish I could thank those people. They said they couldn't find them.
Well, there might be people out there watching this morning. At least you can, in general, you can thank anybody who's given blood.
Given blood, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, but that saved my life.
But who said they couldn't find them?
I guess it was the Red Cross.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because they were busy really trying to work on, things. And so they handed it over to one of our producers, Kendra. And she found a couple of them for you. And they're in the audience this morning, so why don't you thank them?
Where are they?
Well, there's one right next to you.
Terry!
Terry's been sitting next to you the entire time. And Terry, do you often get a chance to actually meet somebody whose life you saved?
She kept on. I mean, we were just talking, and she.
You never know who you're talking to, do you? You never know who you're sitting next to.
No, this is the first time I've ever met someone that I've been able to donate blood for.
Yeah, how does it feel?
It feels wonderful.
She saved my life.
She's one of the people who saved your life. Another person who wanted to be here today but could not is Grace Evans. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning.
Grace is obviously on the phone. And what would you like to say to Grace?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And the same question to you, Grace. Have you ever gotten the chance to actually see somebody whose life you saved by simply giving blood?
No, I haven't, and it's a wonderful thing, and I am so proud that I did go that day and give the blood, and I'm so thankful that Karen received it and that she's doing fine.
Yeah. Well, we're thankful to you for giving that gift.
Thank you so much, Grace.
You're more than welcome, baby, and I
wish
hope
I could
you have a
meet you.
wonderful life.
Oh, thank you. I wish you could be here.
Well, it is a wonderful life now. And Terry, again, thanks to you for your donation, your gift of life to Karen.
You did.
You look good. Well, most of us take life for granted, but for one family in Pasadena, every day, in fact, every hour that their little girl is alive is a priceless gift.
Everyone who meets my daughter just remembers my daughter. God made her very special, and He done that for a reason. And we don't know the reason yet, but I know she has a meaning in life.
Samantha, she's just so special and sweet. I mean, she's taught me how to be a more loving, a more open person. She's taught me a lot.
When she was born and I held her, I couldn't stop crying. I figured that I had the most perfect girl in the world. I was the first one that got to hold her, and all I could say was that she was all cheeks because she's got such a little fat cheeks and stuff, and I cried.
She's shy at first when she first meets people, but once she warms up to you, I mean, she's just the most sweetest, loving little kid. I mean, she likes to draw pictures for people that she doesn't even know. Once she gets to know you, she wants to draw you pictures, and she's just really special. And people remember her because I think that she's so loving.
I would have never thought in a million years that we'd be going through this. My daughter Samantha has major heart disease. She has an enlarged liver from the pacemaker that was installed in September, and her lungs are pressurizing. It's very difficult. I know that she knows what's going on with her, but I don't think that, like my wife said, I don't think that she knows that she could pass away from it.
I tell her that her heart is sick, and her heart is not like other children, and she needs a new one. So I try the best I can to explain to her, but I'll never, I don't want to tell her that she could pass away or anything like that. I don't want to do that to her. But I do want her to understand that she's not like other little kids, But it's hard on everybody in the whole family.
We didn't notice it at first because we didn't have another kid until Junior, and he was like almost 2 years down the road.
I was in the kitchen a couple of weeks ago, and she asked me, when am I going to grow up like you, Mommy? And I had to tell her, I think after she gets her new heart, they say it's because her, circulation and stuff is poor when their heart is not pumping the blood right, so she can't grow.
I mean, I thank God every day that I got the 3 kids that I got, but it's just very difficult to have a sick kid. You turn this corner? I felt a lot of pain, a lot of questions, why, just everything, because that's my little girl, and you'd never think it'd happen to you, but it does.
This is what happened the day that they told us, the day she was, they gave us the final diagnosis. And that was about 6 months from the time of diagnosis till the time they told us that she needed a heart transplant. When they first diagnosed her, I guess it really didn't hit me that hard at first. I don't know. I didn't, not listen or pay attention. I think I wanted to keep it in the back of my mind because that's something that's so hard to deal with. But when it came down to the day that they told us that she needed a transplant, that was what was hard because, losing your child is not something that's supposed to happen to people. Especially not when they're so young. And I love her so much. And if anything ever happened to her, I don't know how I would go on. I don't know if I could.
They told us that most kids with what she's got passes away within 24 months after diagnosis. And it's already been 22, 23 months now. So we're getting close.
The doctors told us that Samantha could die suddenly. And so that's why we just make every day the best day for her. Think about it. Don't take life for granted, because you don't know how long it's going to be there. It could be here today and gone tomorrow. So we should all learn that lesson. For people who really don't think about organ donation and things like that, it would really be something great for you to think about. You're giving someone else life, and that's just the greatest gift you could ever give anyone.
And Daryl and Sherry, every parent who has had a very sick child receives a special gift. And it's a gift that Samantha has shown. While you're busy worrying about your child is busy saying, okay, maybe there's something wrong with me, but you know what? I got to go on living. And you look at her every day, and she just focuses on living. But life has been extra hard for you all. You got laid off recently.
Yes, I've lost my job.
She was given a wish by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. She could go anywhere, see anybody. And ultimately, what did she decide she wanted as her gift?
She decided she wanted furniture, because after my husband lost his job, our furniture was rental furniture. And so we lost everything that we had. And that was hard, you know. She's seen them coming in and taking our furniture and things. So,
were you surprised and touched by that she could have had any toys she wanted, or gone anywhere, gone to Disney World, whatever, and she says, I want furniture for my mommy and daddy. Do you remember that, Samantha? Are you getting, why did you want the furniture? You just knew your mommy and daddy and your brothers needed it? We want to thank you for having such a big heart, literally a good heart. A sick heart, but a good heart.
Kelly, thank you.
Thank you. People at home, you can only imagine how tough this is to look at your child who is sick, know that you don't have the money for things like furniture, know that you might not have the money for things like food. So what we want to do right now is appeal to the big heart of the folks in the Houston area. If you would like to make a donation to Samantha's Medical Fund, you can send it to the address on the screen. And please, I encourage you, look at your own child who is healthy and safe, and know that that might not always be the case. And think about what this family is going through, just trying to keep up with the everyday things of life they need to live. So please, if you can, give what you can. In a moment, we'll share a life-saving gift. We'll be right back. I want to thank all my guests today for sharing their special gifts with us, and we especially want you to know how you can share the gift of life. And Chet, you have some words of wisdom for us?
Yes, I would like everyone to go home today and discuss organ donation with your family. It's nice if you sign your organ donor card, but if you don't, make your wishes known to your next of kin, because they are the ones that will make the final decision as to whether you will be a donor or not.
Right.
And it's the greatest gift that anyone can do after they die, and that is to give the gift of life to so many others.
It's priceless. And Bill?
Well, it's very easy to understand that none of the miracles we saw this morning could have happened without an adequate blood supply. 2,000 blood and blood components every single day are used in this region to help patients like you've seen today. So it's easy to give, and we hope that everyone will give the gift of life.
We hope you enjoyed today's inspirational show. But you know what? The miracles didn't stop there. The guests on today's show were so touched by Samantha's story that they donated money to her family. It was enough money for them to get their car fixed, and things got even better from there. 24 hours later, the Frasers got a call from the hospital. There was a new heart waiting for Samantha. God granted their wish and gave the Frasers their greatest gift, the gift of life. Have a blessed day.